Shalom. So, I wanted to kind of talk about why I felt the need to kind of embrace the fact that chronic Lyme disease is kind of the hub of what I've been dealing with. I'm kind of a person that like I hate taking like a victim mentality or like identifying myself with a sickness or um I'm not the type of person to act like nothing's happening. You know, like I don't want to claim a sickness or claim an illness. It's not really that. It's more of the sense of, I just had so many different random things going on, and it was easier to kind of look at each individual thing and try to just kind of fix it versus looking at the overall umbrella of what was going on because of the fact that chronic Lyme disease is it's such a controversial, weird thing. And so to associate the things that I was going through with that, to me was just it was just kind of overwhelming. Um, but I came to the point where I feel like it was important to actually take a deep breath and embrace the fact that that's what it is, so that I can look at it head on and actually deal with it, and kind of to allow myself to understand that I'm going through something. I'm a person that really likes to just push and just go and just get it done and just keep it moving. And I've learned that I have a high tolerance for pain and discomfort. I've had to deal with it for so long in so many ways, whether it's whatever it is, but particularly now with physical pain and discomfort, I just learned to deal with it. So it's just not a healthy thing to do. Um, so you got to do what you got to do when you got to do it, right? But if you have the space and the opportunity to be able to get to a healthier place, then you should try to take it. So I'm in a place right now where I'm trying to find that window of opportunity to, and I've been trying to do this over and over, but we got to survive, right? We got to keep food on the table. We got to, keep the car going. We got to keep moving, and it's things that responsibilities that we have that we just got to keep doing. So it's kind of hard to find a way to do that when you also have to care for yourself. And trying to balance the two sometimes doesn't work out well. But it's possible. It's possible. And that's part of the reason why I had to kind of really stop and take a look to say, okay, this is what you're dealing with. So what is it that we need to do? We meaning me. What is it that we need to do to step by step, so I've had to just kind of stop everything and take everything step by step, moment by moment, day by day, and which is kind of like stopping a moving freight train and just come to a screeching halt, and to recollect, let all the engines slow down, and say, okay, all right, we're not going to have this freight train going, but we are going to keep going, but we're going to walk. We're going to start off walking. That's what we're going to do. We're going to start off walking, and as we're walking, we're going to see what that feels like, and then we're going to see what's hindering. We're going to see what's available. We're going to see what's resources that are there. We're going to see what challenges are there, and we're going to deal with it at a walking pace. Okay. So, and at that walking pace, you can drop things off that need to be dropped off, and you can pick things up that need to be picked up. And you keep walking until you can walk a little faster. And then until maybe you can do a little jog, and then until maybe you can start to run. You know, then you can realize, okay, that was nice. Now it's time to get in the car and start to drive, and then just kind of keep going from there. But you can't do that if you're driving a freight train going at 100 miles an hour, and you're not stopping and analyzing what you have going on. So that's kind of where I'm at and what I had to do, and why I had to actually stop and take a look at the whole Lyme disease thing again, because I wasn't looking at that, but I'm dealing with all these random things, and it just put me in a place where I'm not doing the right things that are necessary to be done to get the right type of healing that I need. So, but it was just such not a stigma, I guess, but such a thing. I just was slightly kind of just traumatized by what I went through. So like when I would come across a testimony, like a video testimony of somebody who was dealing with that, and when they would start to talk about their symptoms and how the things that they went through and how it devastated their life, I couldn't watch it. I just couldn't watch it. Like I couldn't watch it because it sounded just like me and what I went through, and it just made it a real thing again. And it just like I couldn't watch it without like crying and cutting it off. So going through this process now, I forced myself to review other people's testimonies and stories and kind of engulf myself in that again a little bit. The other thing was that it would just make me depressed. It would just make me feel depressed and hopeless. So I kind of stayed away from it too, because so many people are still just on a relentless cycle of struggling with this thing, and that's not my story. That's not my future. That's not gonna be me. Constantly, even though I have been constantly, but I've had a lot more decent times and I've had debilitating times. And I know that I'm coming out of this cycle into a better time. You know what I mean? But in reviewing and looking at people's kind of getting into it again, it kind of helped me to heal that emotional part of me that just was kind of traumatized by that experience. So it was kind of brought me to a kind of a place of emotional healing from that part, so that I'm not so sensitive to it and so PTSD with it and trying to avoid the whole possibility of it. So that's kind of part of the reason why I needed to really take hold of this title of the Lyme disease. A lot of people trying to get me to not look at that title and try to look at, well, maybe it's this and maybe it's that. And it, there are some other things that I'm also dealing with. But I know for sure that this reoccurrence and this cycle of symptoms that I'm dealing with is directly related to Lyme and the co-infections that came along with that. That's pretty clear to me. So, and the fact that those things trigger other issues in your body, and it could be just the initial bacterial infection that is circulating and causing the issues, or it can have moved on to the impact of that being in the body for so long, moving on and creating other issues. So one or the other. The bottom line is that you can approach healing by either one or two things. As far as the physical healing, you can either try to eradicate the bacteria, which is one journey, or you can put your body in a state of, I'll call remission for the sake of argument, in a state of remission where your body and lifestyle is conducive to it not flaring up. So you can do one or you can do the other. Trying to eradicate the bacteria is a process of taking certain antimicrobials and different things. Some people do the route of what do you call it, like antibiotics and stuff like that, or a natural equivalent to that. Or some people or you go down the route of just trying to maintain your body in a conducive state. I haven't decided which one of those routes I'm going on yet. I think that I am going to attempt the eradication mode again. I'm kind of being led on how what I'm doing right now. I'm focusing on kind of bringing down some of the symptoms that have gotten a little out of hand, and from there I'm going to kind of see where I'm going to go. Um, but for my mental, emotional, spiritual well-being, I had to kind of embrace the reality of what I'm going through, um, and then kind of force the people around me to embrace it as well, because it is emotionally unhealthy to have to deny your experience of what you are experiencing day by day. You know what you're experiencing, you know what you're going through, and to have to act like you're not, or to have to minimize it, or to have to put it in a category that it's not in, um, just kind of makes you go into kind of a hole. And I found myself in this hole. So first I've had to just kind of accept what's going on and look at it head on. And I feel like that was the healthiest thing for me to do at this time, at this point. Um, so I just wanted to kind of speak on that for a minute, of why I felt like it was necessary to pull out the title and call it for what it is. And it, it's hard for me because I don't like titles. I don't like those type of labels. I don't like I said, I don't identify myself. I guess one of the turnoffs was I've seen so many people who just identify themselves, as a victim of some kind of thing, and I'm like, I'm not a victim of some type of thing. Yes, somehow this thing got to me, got into me, and is causing me this disruptions in my life. But at the same time, I am not this label, that I'm not any type of label that somebody calls a sickness or illness or disease, because it's really just a malfunctioning of the body because of some kind of foreign invader. And it's a matter of getting that foreign invader out, or neutralizing that foreign invader in the body, and recreating a healthy, balanced physical environment on the inside. And that includes mentally and emotionally, and that includes having to create an external atmosphere that is conducive to that. So my focus is on creating that conducive atmosphere, while also trying to eliminate or neutralize that invader that's in my body, so that all can be functional and good and well. In the Hebrew we say tob. So that's what the goal is to get back to being told, to being good, to being functional and well, to being in a state of shalom, to restoration, aruka, restoration, and getting back to that space. So that's my goal right now, to be able to get to that place. And this is the steps that I'm taking. So, those who want to go along for the journey, keep tuning in. And I appreciate all support. Shalom. One other thing that I forgot to add to that. I had to embrace this also, because I can be very hard on myself for not performing up to my standards. Not necessarily anybody else's standards, but my standards that I have for myself and for my life. And when I'm not able to perform and carry out the things that are in my heart to the capacity that I desire to, I can be kind of hard on myself. And so I had to embrace this also, for myself to accept that, yo, you're not well. Like, you're not okay. And it's okay. You know what I mean? To accept the fact that you're not okay. Um, yeah, so I mean, I had to come to grips with that so that I can stop beating myself up. The status, you know how Facebook does the little statuses where they remind you of a year ago you said this, or 3 years ago you said this. And one of my Facebook memories came up, and it was like, had something to do with not beating yourself up and being kind to yourself. And I needed to hear that at that moment so bad, because it just clicked in my head and made me realize, like, yo, you are so hard on yourself. Like you are actually not well. Like, you're actually not okay. And so be okay with that. Embrace that and allow yourself to, not just to be sick, like wallow in sickness, but allow yourself to accept the fact that you're not well right now in these particular ways, and so that you can give yourself the allowances to get well. Like, I would feel really bad if I'm like exceedingly fatigued or in pain, and like just laying down in the bed and taking a nap was not an option. Or, you know like, my option is always to keep going. If there's breath in my body, just keep going. So it would I would feel like guilty if I'm not doing something that I feel like I'm supposed to be doing. So I had to accept this also, to accept the fact that you are legitimately not okay. Like, you're not making this up in your head. You're not imagining this. You're not, exaggerating, because you usually are under whatever the opposite of exaggerating is, under emphasizing, what you're really dealing with. When it comes to what I say to myself and what I say to people, um, I'm fine or I'm okay usually means I'm in a lot of pain, but I can still keep going. So, um, so I had to do that so that I could allow myself to do healing types of things. Um, if you're well and you're okay, there's no reason for you to, take a day to lay down, or to take a day to, or a period of time to, uh, just do things that are necessary for your health. Um, if you're not admitting that something's wrong. So I had to allow myself to embrace and admit that, so that I could let myself off the hook for the things that I wasn't doing and wasn't able to carry out, that were in my intentions and desires to do, so that I can be kind to myself. And the same way I would be to somebody else, if I saw another person going through something, that I would understand, that they can't do whatever, because I could see what they're going through. So I have to be able to see that for myself. um, and and make others see it. Because sometimes they call this an invisible illness, because it's like you look fine on the outside, but nobody understands what you're actually going through in your body and your mind. Um, so it makes it a little bit challenging sometimes. Uh, it's different when you have something that people can externally see, or even something that is something that people can just identify with, when you tell them. Um, so yeah, so I wanted to add that part in there, because that was really important, to be able to know that I'm okay, make myself okay with, where I'm at, and embracing that reality. Shalom again.